Today I will tell a paranormal story of my subscriber about Walmart. I always thought it would be kind of cool to be locked in a store overnight. Like in those movies where kids skate down empty aisles and eat all the candy they want. That was before I got locked inside a Walmart. It was supposed to be a quick trip. My mom had sent me to grab a few things after school: milk, cereal, and toilet paper. I took my time wandering around, checking out the toy section even though I was technically too old for it, then lingering in the electronics department. The store was pretty quiet for a Wednesday night. The usual hum of shoppers replaced by the occasional beep of a scanner or the muffled voice of an employee making an announcement. I guess I lost track of time. At some point, the lights dimmed. A voice crackled over the PA system. "Attention Walmart shoppers, the store is now closed. Please proceed to the nearest exit." My stomach dropped. Closed? I checked my phone. 10:03 p.m. How the hell had I been in here that long? I turned toward the front of the store, expecting to see people filing out, but the checkout lanes were empty. No cashiers. No carts rattling toward the doors. I started walking faster, then running. The automatic doors at the front were sealed shut. Through the glass, I could see the empty parking lot stretching into the night. Not a single car. Not even the employees. I pounded on the doors. "Hey, I'm still in here." No answer. That's when I realized something strange. Walmarts always have those late-night stalkers. The ones in blue vests wheeling out crates of cereal and soda. But as I looked around, every aisle was completely still. No employees. No carts left in the middle of the floor. Just a silent, perfectly stocked store. Felt wrong. And then, from somewhere deep in the store, I heard the sound of something moving. The sound wasn't loud, but in the silence of the empty Walmart, it might as well have been a gunshot. A faint rustling, like something brushing against plastic. It came from the far end of the store, past the darkened aisles and toward the back storage rooms. I stood frozen for a second, my heart hammering. Maybe it was a janitor? A night manager? Someone had to still be here. "Hello?" My voice echoed down the aisles. "I think I got locked in." No answer. I took a hesitant step forward, listening. The rustling came again, longer this time. Not quite footsteps, but something shifting, scraping against the tile floor. I swallowed and moved toward the sound. The store was massive when it was empty, the usual safety of bright fluorescent lights suddenly feeling cold and clinical. Every aisle I passed looked untouched, neatly stocked, nothing out of place. But then I turned a corner and saw it. A shopping cart, sitting dead center in the middle of the aisle. I stopped, my breath caught in my throat. It hadn't been there before. I was sure of it. And then, as I stared, the cart moved. Just a little. A tiny jerk forward, like someone had nudged it. I took a step back. My first instinct was to bolt toward the front doors again, to grab a phone and start calling anyone. But before I could move, scrape. The sound came again, louder this time. From behind me. Something was in here with me. I spun around so fast I nearly tripped over my own feet. The sound was closer now, like something heavy dragging against the floor. I wasn't alone. My pulse pounded in my ears as I backed away from the shopping cart, scanning the aisles. The store stretched out in every direction. Shelves stacked high, pathways eerily empty. There were too many places to hide. I pulled out my phone, fingers shaking. I'd just call my mom, tell her I was stuck. Easy. No service. My stomach dropped. How the hell could a Walmart have no signal? I tried moving, lifting my phone higher, but the bars stayed dead. That's when I heard it. A whisper. Faint. Just a breath of sound. Coming from the next aisle over. I don't know why I didn't run right then. I should have. But some twisted part of my brain needed to know, needed to see. I crept forward, keeping my footsteps light. The whispering had stopped, but the air felt heavier, like the store was holding its breath. I peeked around the corner, and for a second, I thought the aisle was empty. Then I saw it. A figure half hidden behind a shelf of canned beans. Tall. Too tall. Its limbs were wrong. Too long. Its arms hanging just past its knees. It stood perfectly still, facing the shelves, its head tilted at a strange, unnatural angle. I couldn't move. Then, so slowly I almost didn't notice, turned its head. Not its body, just its head. And it smiled. That smile. Too wide. Too many teeth. Like it had practiced being human but never quite got it right. I choked on a breath and stumbled backward. The thing didn't move at first. Just stood there, grinning, its head still twisted at that awful angle. Then it twitched. A sudden, jerking movement. Its neck cracking as it adjusted. Its body still motionless. Like a puppet waiting for the right strings to be pulled. I ran. I didn't think. I just turned and bolted down the nearest aisle, sneakers slapping against the linoleum. Shelves blurred past me, the bright overhead lights burning in my vision. Behind me, another scrape. It was following. I turned a corner so hard I nearly crashed into a display of snack cakes. My breath came in sharp gasps. My legs burned. The exit. I had to get to the front. But when I skidded into the main aisle, the long, wide one that ran straight to the checkout lanes, my stomach dropped. The front of the store was wrong. The cash registers were gone. The sliding glass doors, gone. Just more aisles stretching endlessly. I whipped around, my brain scrambling for an explanation. This wasn't right. I had just been there. I saw the doors. Something was changing the store. Then a whisper. Close. Right behind me. I turned. And the thing was there, standing at the end of the aisle, still smiling. It raised one long, bony hand and waved. That wave, it was worse than the smile. Like it was mocking me. I staggered backward, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. My legs screamed at me to run, but something about the way it stood there, patient, waiting, made my stomach churn. Then, overhead, the PA system crackled to life. Attention Walmart shoppers. The voice was warped, stretched, like a recording being played too slow. We see you. The fluorescent lights above flickered. And the thing, it moved. Not walking, not running, just appearing closer. 1 second it was at the end of the aisle, then suddenly it was only a few feet away. I felt the air shift, like something unseen had just filled the space between us. That was enough. I turned and ran, darting into another aisle. Shelves loomed over me, endless rows of frozen food, cereal boxes, racks of clothes. I sprinted past them, my lungs burning. Then another crackle. Loss prevention will be with you shortly. The voice came from the speakers again, distorted and wrong. And from somewhere behind me, I heard that awful scraping sound, getting closer. I didn't stop, couldn't. The store felt like it was stretching, aisles twisting in directions they shouldn't go. I turned left, then right, but the layout wasn't making sense anymore. Had I passed the clothing section twice? Wasn't the pharmacy supposed to be at the back? Attention Walmart shoppers. The PA system crackled again. Help is on the way. The voice was closer now, like it wasn't just coming from the ceiling, but from around me. I darted into an aisle marked 14 household goods. Rows of paper towels, dish soap, and mops lined the shelves. And that's when I saw him. A Walmart employee. A real human employee. He was standing halfway down the aisle, his blue vest slightly wrinkled, the Walmart logo printed across his back. I almost sobbed in relief. Hey! I gasped, my voice shaking. Please, something's wrong. I got locked in. There's something here. We have to get out. The man didn't move. I took a step closer. Hello. Slowly, too slowly, he turned toward me, and my stomach dropped. His face, it wasn't right. His eyes were too dark, too deep, like holes punched into his skull. His mouth was a little too wide, stretching at the corners. And his skin, it looked thin like something was wearing it. Then, in a perfectly even, robotic tone, he spoke. Can I help you find something? My blood ran cold. Behind me, that scraping sound started again. And I knew. I wasn't getting out of here. Not alone. I stepped back, my heart hammering. The thing wearing the Walmart vest just stood there, head slightly tilted, mouth stretched in that too wide grin. Can I help you find something? The same words, the exact same tone, like a recording on a loop. I turned to run, but the aisle was longer than before, It should have been maybe 50 feet to the end, but now it stretched out forever, the shelves repeating over and over like a broken reflection. Paper towels, dish soap, mops, again and again as far as I could see. I glanced back. The employee was closer. I hadn't seen him move, but he was just a few feet away now. His dark, hollow eyes locked onto me. "Can I help you find something?" This time his voice glitched, like a bad speaker warping and distorting. I bolted. I ran straight down the aisle, sprinting past the endless shelves, my breath coming in sharp, ragged gasps. No matter how far I went, the layout didn't change. It was all aisle 14. Then the lights flickered. For half a second, the store plunged into darkness. And in that brief moment, just before the lights flickered back, I felt something right behind me, breathing, reaching. I didn't stop, couldn't. And then, the aisle ended. Suddenly, I crashed into a wall of shelving, sending a display of sponges and air fresheners tumbling to the floor. Dead end. I turned, chest heaving. The employee was gone. But the store wasn't empty. From the darkened aisles beyond, something moved. And this time it wasn't alone. I wasn't alone anymore. Shapes moved in the dim aisles beyond aisle 14. Shadows stretching along the polished floor. Figures too tall, too thin, shifting just beyond clear sight. Then a whisper. Not words. Not exactly. Just a sound. Something dry and rustling, like leaves scraping against pavement. The air felt wrong, like the store wasn't just big. It was empty. Not abandoned, not forgotten. Just hollow. I pressed myself against the shelves, my pulse hammering. I had nowhere to go. The aisle had ended, like the store itself had decided I didn't need an exit anymore. And then, footsteps. Slow. Measured. Coming from just around the corner. I sucked in a breath. A figure stepped into view. Not the grinning employee. Not the thing that had waved at me. This one was different. Dressed in a long, faded dress. Her hair hanging in tangled knots over her face. Her arms, two long fingers twitching at her sides. I could see her ribs, stretching her pale skin, moving as she breathed. She tilted her head, like she was studying me. And then, she took a step closer. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My body wouldn't move. Her mouth opened, and in the same robotic, distorted voice as the employee, she whispered, "Can I help you find something?" The others whispered it too. From every dark aisle. From every corner of the impossible store. Whispering. Repeating. Coming closer. The whispering surrounded me. Dozens of voices all saying the same thing. "Can I help you find something?" Too many. Coming from every aisle, every shadowed corner. They were closing in. My body finally listened. I turned and ran. I didn't care that aisle 14 had been a dead end before. I just bolted, crashing past shelves, knocking over stacks of neatly folded towels and rows of plastic spray bottles. The store shifted around me as I moved. Aisles stretched, rearranged. End caps appeared where they hadn't been seconds before. But I didn't stop. I sprinted through clothing racks, past the flickering glow of the electronics section, past long rows of freezers humming in the dim light. Somewhere in the distance, the PA system crackled again. "Attention Walmart shoppers. The store is now closed. You must exit immediately." Exit? Where? I gasped for air, skidding around a corner, and there it was, the front doors, shining under the buzzing fluorescent lights. Real. Solid. I choked out something between a laugh and a sob. I could make it. I ran harder, my legs screaming, the whispering behind me growing louder. I was so close, and then, the lights shut off. Total darkness. For a single horrible second, the entire store was silent. No humming freezers, no flickering bulbs, no whispers, just my breathing. And then, a voice inches from my ear. "You don't belong out there anymore." Something touched me. Fingers thin, cold, brushed against my shoulder in the darkness. I screamed and lurched forward, arms flailing. My hands slammed into glass. The front doors, they were real. I shoved against them, palms slick with sweat. They didn't move. Behind me, the whispering started again. Can I help you find something? Dozens of voices. Right behind me. I pounded on the doors. Let me out. My reflection stared back at me in the glass, wild-eyed, chest heaving. Then movement. My reflection tilted its head. But I hadn't moved. The realization hit me like a truck. That thing in the glass? It wasn't me. Its mouth stretched into a wide, toothy grin. Behind me, the whispering voices stopped. I didn't turn around. Couldn't. My reflection slowly lifted one long, bony arm and waved. Then the doors unlocked. A soft click, the hum of the automatic mechanism. I didn't question it. I didn't think. I ran. The moment my feet hit the pavement outside, I collapsed, sucking in huge, ragged breaths. The parking lot was empty. No cars. No streetlights. Just endless asphalt stretching into the night. And behind me, through the glass doors, they were still standing there. Aisles full of tall, hollow-eyed things in Walmart uniforms, watching, waiting, my reflection still grinning. And then, the doors slid shut. The lights inside flickered once, twice, and everything looked normal again. A clean, empty Walmart. No figures, no whispers, just a regular store, closed for the night. But as I staggered back, my chest still heaving, my phone vibrated in my pocket. I pulled it out with shaking hands. One new notification. A Walmart receipt. Total $0. Change due. You belong to US now.